Greetings, fellow Star Trek Starship Collector. This is Joshua Mitchell. We are here at the halfway mark of this first series of ships from the Star Trek Starship Collection from Fanhome. This month we're looking at Episode 10, the U.S.S. Dauntless from Star Trek Prodigy Season 1. We also have a free gift, our dedication plaque from the U.S.S. Titan. So we look forward to diving into both of these things, seeing how it compares to some of their other models. So come on back and let's check it out. Okay, so let's take a look inside and see what we get. U.S.S. Dauntless. I gotta tell you, first off, sorry I'm not wearing a Prodigy uniform. I don't have one, but I thought, well, let me at least get in the right decade, 2380s. Star Trek Prodigy was a great series. I cannot believe that they haven't done more with it. It's so annoying, but... All right, so as we take a look, as we always do, we first have our little booklet here, design document. Interesting information always with these things. So let's take a look and learn more about the U.S.S. Dauntless. The U.S.S. Dauntless is the first Dauntless class vessel in Starfleet. It was put together using scanned data from the U.S.S. Voyager when they encountered a similar vessel in the Delta Quadrant that wasn't quite what it seemed. Although we almost didn't have the Dauntless at all, as the Prodigy team was interested in using the U.S.S. Titan originally in their show. However, with Titan being used on lower decks, it was decided to design something else for Admiral Janeway. The Dauntless has the ability to use a slipstream drive to travel at speeds beyond warp. The ship is able to stay in the slipstream longer due to the way the saucer section is designed with that more angular design. The ship was meant to look intimidating, like a tank, and to be huge in comparison to the U.S.S. Protostar, which it most certainly is when you see them on screen together. While the same basic design of the saucer was kept as the original Dauntless, the design team felt it was necessary to make the rest of the ship look different, almost prototypical, like the design wasn't quite finished. This is the reason the nacelles are designed the way that they are, as well as a secondary hull. It was made specifically to look not as sleek and as futuristic as the Dauntless encountered by Voyager. All right, there we have it. As ever, always interesting to read more and get to learn kind of the idea behind how they created these things. It's cool to get that insight. So, all right, here we go. Time to take a look inside our box. So here we are. So U.S.S. Dauntless settling in safely here inside of our box. So let's take her out and see. I have to say, first off, she feels so tiny. So tiny. Compared to some of the other ships that we've had. It's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the design, I have to admit. It just seems a little too foreign and not as Starfleet as we're kind of accustomed to, even though they do go for some interesting designs. Feels pretty lightweight overall. Most of the diecast is up here in the top part of the saucer section. Everything else is that plastic resin and only just a little bit of the clear acrylic back here on the end of the warp nacelles. So yeah, fascinating. Dinky, kind of feels dinky to me. Not so Dauntless. So let's take a deeper look. Let's see some of the details on the ship, and then we'll take a look also at some of the comparisons to other vessels. Just real quick, our free gift this time around is the dedication plaque of the Titan A. It's pretty small. It's 8 5/8 inches wide, or 21.91 centimeters, and 6 1/4 inch tall, or 15.88 centimeters. It's also very thin, feels even thinner than a license plate, but does have some nice embossed details with the ship name and the delta, and it's cool to see the name of the Star Trek creatives past and present. Ultimately, to me, it's a forgettable addition. Now moving on to the actual Dauntless, as we take a look first at her registry. Maybe it's because the number is long, but it almost seems a little off-center the way that it's done. Just a little nitpick there, but overall looks nice. You've got good Aztecing. You can see the plating well on the ship. The window issue is not an issue on the Dauntless because there's no notches. It's all just painted on, which is great. So we don't have that annoying little issue this time around. As we continue, we'll head back up to the top of the saucer here and make our way towards the bridge module right there at the center. And then as we get around to the back side of the ship, a bit of an interesting design here. We can see the impulse engines are a bit of a unique design compared to other Starfleet vessels. Very bright and vibrant with that red. And you can see the thruster there on that side. And same with the other side of the ship. Now, as we continue along, we'll head down the secondary hull. Again, nice detailing. Aztecing looks good on the ship, and the engines there look very nice. Now, flipping it over on the ventral side, again, more detail. We stop here and note the warp engines. Again, looks sort of prototypical, not completely done. I wish they were the acrylic and not just painted, but at least they do look nice. It's a pretty color. And then as we continue up the vessel here, we can see, again, the deflector dish. And being that the warp core is built underneath the bridge, I'm assuming that if that's not the captain's yacht there, that maybe that's the warp core ejection slot. But again, not a whole lot of detail underneath, but it does have a nice bit of that Aztecing look in the detail. So here's a shot of her from the dorsal side, from the forward, and then a nice little shot from the port side. So for our first comparison, we'll put the two tiny ships next to each other. We've got the Stargazer and the Dauntless. So the U.S.S. Stargazer is coming in at 7 3/4 inches, or 19.68 centimeters, while the Dauntless comes in at 7 7/8 inches, or 20 centimeters, pretty close to one another. Moving on, now we'll take a look at the Dauntless up against the Excelsior. So again, Dauntless, 7 7/8 inches, or 20 centimeters. And the U.S.S. Excelsior is 8 5/8 inches, or 21.9 centimeters. So a bigger difference here. Now this is a huge difference. Let's take a look at the Dauntless against the XL Enterprise F. So again, the Dauntless at 7 7/8 inches, or 20 centimeters. The Enterprise F coming in at 10 1/2 inches, or 26.67 centimeters. So a huge difference compared between the two, the regular and the XL. So here we are, the U.S.S. Dauntless, as seen in Star Trek Prodigy Season 1. I have to say, if I hadn't measured it, I would have thought it was like 6 inches, because it really is a small ship. It's so funny, for a vessel that was designed to be so large and imposing and be like a tank, it's so small in comparison to some of the other vessels, and so it takes away from some of that strength and majesty you would expect to see from something that was designed so big. But great to see Star Trek Prodigy represented, and there are some cool ships coming down the line that I'm very excited about from Prodigy, and it's a fantastic series. If you haven't seen it, you really do owe it to yourself to go watch it, especially if you're a Voyager fan. But, you know, it looks nice. Some decent detailing. We don't have the window issue because there's no notches. It's just painted on. The registry, you know, I can kind of forget that because it's just that weird angle, which of course allows it to stay in the slipstream. And I am a little disappointed that such a small amount of that clear acrylic in the warp nacelles in the back. It definitely has the look of a prototype, the way that they designed it. Honestly, for me, won't stay in my collection. Not a big fan of the design, and honestly, not a huge fan of the ship and how they did it. It feels so light. It almost feels like a toy, and we're paying a lot of money for something like this to feel like a toy. So a bit of a disappointment for me, but maybe you feel differently. And if you do, tell me in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you're looking forward to getting it, well, then I hope you can. You know, rep some Prodigy on your shelf. It's really nice. Again, not for me, but looking forward to the Protostar and the Voyager A down the road. Now, come back next month as we begin the second half of the rest of Fanhome series. We'll look at episode number 11. We'll have the U.S.S. Archer NCC 627. Now, that was from the premiere episode of Strange New Worlds. So come on back and we'll take a look at that together. In the meantime, I'm Joshua Mitchell. Live long and prosper.